Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. So we see from last year stores closing, even the start of this year, Walmart saying they're closing stores, CVS, Walgreens, Piggly Wiggly, Randall's, all of these places closing up. Even malls are shutting down. Now we see banks shutting down. I have some bank closures here, and I want to give you the location in which banks are closing, and also the fact that it's some major things happening over in Europe that we could potentially see here. And we're already seeing a little bit, and we'll get into it. All the signs are written on the wall. We just got to pay attention to it. Okay, they want to get rid of cash. They want to get rid of that access. They want to know exactly what you're doing with your money, what you're buying, how much you're spending. And they are about to do this. So what's closing right now is PNC Bank is closing 3 of their locations in Pittsburgh. Before I get any further into it, I want to say thank you to those who reached out and sent me Cash App. I really do appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed, and that will definitely go into a savings for me building emergency funds back up. Guys, build your emergency funds up. So let's get into this. PNC Bank is the 6th largest bank in the United States, but they're known as a super regional bank, and they don't want to be known as a super regional bank any longer. This is why they are consolidating and getting rid of a lot of their locations. They want to go where the money resides, is where PNC and all these other banks want to be. So they're closing 3 locations, and here's some of the locations right here: 5932 Century Avenue, 178 Bakery Square Boulevard, and 4761 Liberty Avenue will be closing on April 19th. The receiving branch for all 3 of those locations will be located at 161 South Street, Clare Street, where PNC is investing in a new state-of-the-art office because they don't want to be known as a state regional bank. So whether it is Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or a bank like SVB that went under, these banks are looking to consolidate. And they want to do it as fast as possible. But right now, they're having to wait until the banking interests look a lot better. So the next bank that is closing locations is Truist Bank. Truist Bank is closing 2 branches in Alabama as part of a $750 million cutting cost measure. This will close banks in at least 6 states. Also, Alabama branches are expected to close on March 19th at 629 Red Lane Road in Birmingham. And they're closing another location at 3419 Pulaski Pike Northwest in Huntsville. Truist Bank is closing up a lot of locations. So the Truist Bank is expected to close 72 branches in Georgia, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, and West Virginia, in addition to the ones that they're closing in Alabama. Truist Bank has over 50 locations in Alabama cities, and upon closing these locations, they will be operating around 1,900 branches and 2,900 ATMs. Clients were only told about this last month, and closures are expected to be because of client behavior, transactions, and the amount of traffic. They say not a lot of people are coming into these banks. Not a lot of people are using cash. So they're slowly pushing us to digital money, you guys, so they can control and see what exactly we are buying. And like I said, this is not just happening in the United States. Banks are closing over in Europe as well. As a matter of fact, the EU is banning cash payments of over 10,000 euros in an attempt, they say, to deter people money laundering. But how many people are money laundering over how many people are actually doing real purchases with real money? So they're slowly getting rid of cash over there and not accepting in a lot of areas, and also closing up hundreds and hundreds of banks ever since last year, closing up these banks. So I have some of those banks here, and I want to show them to you. The first set of, here is the new list of the Barclays that's closing right here. And here is the 54 branches that they're planning to close this year that they had already announced. That is a lot of bank closures over in Europe. Now, the U.S. has a similar situation, although it is not $10,000. It is $600 that you have to now report, and banks are having to report it as well. So if you don't report it, guess what? The bank is going to tell on you that this has been taking place. So if you're using like a Venmo, Cash App, a PayPal, any kind of third-party app, you now have to report anything over $600, and that's in the United States. Now back to the EU. The Barclays Bank, a major high street bank, is set to close 20 locations. That's 14 in England, 3 in Wales, and 3 in Scotland as soon as April 2024. Locations also in Blackburn, Hartlepool, and Maidenhead will also be affected. Barclays has announced nearly 200 branch closings in recent years, saying only 10% of transactions are face-to-face, so they are getting rid of these banks. I know in one of my other videos I did talk about the fact that they were getting rid of these banks, and you would have to go to an actual post office in order to do certain transactions. The Barclays themselves have closed at least 18 as of last year. Now they have this 200 that they're going to be closing this year. But there are other big lenders that have branches that are closing, and that's NatWest, Lloyds, and Virgin Money. And also Halifax is set to close locations as well. Metro Bank is set to axe 800 jobs and review their opening hours at their branches. And Berkshire Bank is set to close branches, and they have about 96 branches across New England and New York. So y'all can let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Be respectful of others, but please let me know where you're located. If your bank is closing, if I mentioned a bank that's closing, or didn't mention a bank that's closing, please put that down in the comments, because we all need to stay aware of what's happening and monitoring our money. And again, let's start working on our 3 to 6 months emergency money. That's money that you can do whatever you need to do with in case your bank is closed or they are not giving you access to your accounts, because there are still banks that are closing people's accounts for simple reasons. So hit that like button, share the video out, and I'll be talking to you in just, the next video. I love you, but God loves you more. He created only one you. Be the best you that you can be, and when you are, go out and spread God's love. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for being here on Timing Bites TV and Homestead.
I've been giving you the worst.